Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and for the very first time in quite some time, we're playing some Star Citizen. I mean, man, I haven't played SC in forever. It's just, every time there's a new patch for the game, you know, I sort of dive in, check it out, maybe a week after the patch goes live, because I usually don't want to be one of the several thousand people who are smashing the crap out of the servers, all never able to get in. So I kind of just sit back and I let it go, and, you know, I pop into it eventually. So I finally popped into 1.0. I did the free upgrade for my Aurora and turned it into a Mustang, which I don't like very much. I love the way the Mustang looks. I loved being inside of it. The cockpit is extremely open, and it has this sort of superbike feel to it, the way the console is in front of you. But in terms of actually flying it, I didn't find it to be a very enjoyable ship to fly currently. Of course, it has many different variants. I'm not a fan of it right now. I don't care much for it. I don't know why that is. I just found it to be a difficult ship to fly. It felt unwielding. It felt very just kind of all over the place, and I didn't really genuinely enjoy it. Not to mention, there's quite a bit of issues with it as it stands currently in the alpha here. It's just kind of like the weapons weren't equipped. I think it's missing components that I wasn't able to equip. But anyways, that's that's what you get from pre-alpha. What I wanted to do was we're just generally gonna muck about. We'll do a little bit of flying, and I just wanted to talk about SC. You know, sort of my current thought process for the game going into 2015, you know, and the future of SC, you know, as it stands. I mean, number one, very ambitious game. We all know that. We've known that since day one. And I'm at the point with this game where I'm completely, you know, ready for it to do well. I'm not going to say I'm convinced. Obviously, I'm not convinced of anything. You know, when it happens, it happens. But what the team has delivered thus far has been extremely impressive. I mean, the environments, obviously, they have really great environmental artists. They have great artists in general. The game is stunning. It is gorgeous. I don't feel the gameplay is there quite yet. I still think Arena Commander has a lot of work. And thankfully, Chris Roberts and the team feels the exact same way. You know, this isn't a case where, you know, a lot of us are sitting here saying, dude, it's not there yet. And they're like, no, it's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. They understand there's a lot of headway to be made with the actual flight mechanics, and they're working on it. But in the meantime, they're making the game look damn pretty. Maybe a little bit too pretty at times. That is one of the sort of small issues I have with the game, is that there's a little bit too much glitz and glare in places where I don't think it's necessary. But hey, everything else, it just clicks, and it's just gorgeous. The new hangars are stunning. It's a wonderful game. It's obvious that it's going to take a decent rig to run it on some of the higher settings, but this is really early on. There's not a lot of optimization, and these days I'm running a R9 280X 3GB. You know, it's not the most high-end card ever, but it's doing well. It's doing, you know, 40 to 50 frames on medium, and considering, again, you know, we don't have that optimization here in the early stages of the game, it's doing really well. But man, this hangar, this is the first time I've really walked around this entire hangar. This is, I wish I could sit in this chair, that'd be cool. This is a genuinely stunning hangar. As they all are, I'm sure. This is the one that I've chosen to go with out of the three for my configuration, and I've just been absolutely in love with it. Haven't really had a chance to walk around it, though, so that's kind of what we're doing right now. But as it stands for me, you know, if Chris Roberts can deliver on his personal dream, I think that's why a lot of us have so much faith in the game. You know, people, you know, ask, well, why? People are so crazy. Why would you spend this money? Why would you give all this money towards the development of this game? And you know, for a lot of us, it's just when you listen to Chris talk, when you listen to the other members of the team talk, a lot of the guys in the art team, and just everywhere, you know, we've had so much interaction with so many members of CIG and the connecting teams that are working on the game, you know, like Redacted working on the FPS module and etc. They all just show this true sort of passion, you know. They're making the game that they've always wanted to play. And if Chris Roberts has his way, they're making more than just a game. They're making a universe that people can live in and exist in. You know, very much what EVE Online and World of Warcraft have become over the past, you know, decade plus, you know, almost for some, you know, at that point, where it is a living, breathing world that people are interacting inside of with each other on a daily basis, you know, on an hourly basis. These games never stop functioning. There's always someone doing something somewhere, and if they can make that happen with Star Citizen, that's truly wonderful. And I will most definitely want to be a part of that, as many other people will. And that's really the big draw with SC. You know, if that can come to fruition, if he can make that happen, if CIG can put it all together at the end of the day, it's going to be an extremely impressive experience. It's going to be more than just a space sim. You know, it's going to be something truly special. So that's what a lot of us look forward to. It's why I don't actually visit the game that much, because I just have, you know, so many hopes for it, and I don't want to get myself overly hyped. But every time you climb into an elevator, you just look at the texture work. Look at the texture work on this floor panel. My God. You know, the detail is everywhere. It's never ending. It exists in every single crevice of the game. It's endlessly impressive. And you understand why the game is going to take so long to be, you know, to be in beta even. You know, to get to the point where they're calling it full release. Obviously, development's never going to stop. But it's because of these details. It's because of that ridiculous attention to detail. It's not just one slick texture, you know, it's everything has like a purpose to it. There's a reason that there's a texture on almost every surface. And when you really start to look at that portion of the game, you understand, you know, why development is the way it is, why they have so many teams working on so many different modules, and why, if the game is successful, it will be probably one of the most successful releases of a game ever in history, hands down. But I mean, that's all hopes and dreams from us all, right? That's what we hope for the future of SC. I'm really excited to see what they bring in 2015. I genuinely am. You know, maybe some new modules, big improvements to Arena Commander, I hope, and just I really want to see the beginning of a really big focus on enhancing the gameplay experience, making it a more enjoyable game, making it more fun to fly the ships in Arena Commander. And like I've said, they understand that it's not where they want it to be, and that's all I really need to hear. You know, the fact that they're still working on it, it's still being developed. Let's do some flying though. You know, while I talk some more about SC. Let's see here. We could do some free flight, but I feel like I've done endless amounts of free flight. Racing is great, albeit though I find it still a little bit difficult with the controls. I still haven't been able to refine my controls quite where I want them to be, but let's maybe do some combat with the Anvil Horn. We'll do some Vanduul Swarm. I've been trying to play a bit of Spectrum Match, actually go online with other people, but I still say the best way to play it now that there's parties is to do private matches with friends, because the matchmaking isn't working as well as it needs to be for me to actually want to do Spectrum Match. Way too often I get into a free-for-all, there's no one else in the room, or I can't even get into a free-for-all, the Battle Royale mode. Squadron battles are often really one-sided. I've had a lot of like 3 versus 1s, 2 versus 1s, and then, you know, eventually that guy's going to leave. He's going to keep getting thrashed and he's going to leave. So still a lot of work to be done there, but it's nice to have the party, you know, the ability to make parties now in the game along with private matches. That's really the way to play it if you have a group to play with, or you know, several friends. Speaking of, while we're waiting for this to load here, for those of you fellow members of Praxis who watch my content, if you haven't already went and voted for the name of our very first capital ship, the Idris P that Whiplash purchased for the organization, please go and do so. They've got it narrowed down to 4 names. Hells has made some great artwork to sort of tell us what the names mean, you know, the story behind each of these individual names for the ship. I'll have it linked in the description below. Head on over, click that vote button, make your decision. I personally, I'm very torn between Svalin and Serendipity. I think those Singularity. Those are 2 great names. There's 4 there. Like I said, just go head on over, check them out, and cast your vote. For those of you guys who are, you know, completely unaware of what Praxis is, you're brand new members, I will have a link in the description below. Head on over to the forums and find out what Praxis is all about, man. We are an up-and-coming gaming organization. Doing some awesome stuff. I can't recommend it enough, but let's do this thing. It is time to hunt some Vanduul. It's nice to actually have around 40 frames running on medium here. That R9 is making a huge difference, but alright, let's see what we got going on here. My biggest issue is there's a lot of keys to be bound to something like an X-52. I don't actually remember if I bound my targeting key, so I guess we'll find out. Okay, there we go. I did. I thought I did. Just wanted to make sure. Let's go ahead and swing our way into battle here. Let's go ahead and go with this guy right there. I'm coming. I'm coming. Actually, you know what? We're going for this guy. A little bit more out in the open, less debris in the air. We can make a beeline towards him and start to engage. Like I was saying, though, controls have come a long way in 1.0. Still having a little bit of issue with fine aim. I still feel like there's a little bit of slop, some dead zone that needs to change. However, you do have a lot more options now for tweaking this sort of stuff on your own. A lot of sensitivity options in the game. You just have to spend the time with it, and to be honest, I haven't really quite spent the time with it, so no one to blame there except myself. Let's go ahead and get some chase. Bit of chase going on here. Some heavy damage on that Vanduul. It's such a weird feeling using the track IR to actually target, but it is really satisfying once you get it down. Is he still alive? Crazy Vanduul, what are you flying, man? It's like a rotating cockpit just floating around in space. Alright, let's go ahead, hit up our next target here. I think we lost most of our friendlies in my my inability to actually engage these targets as quickly as I needed to. I like the decision to add the lead indicator. A lot of people, you know, will make the argument that having the lead indicator there sort of takes away some skill, but I mean, come on. This is the future. We're in space. We would have things like lead indicators, and if anything, it just sort of helps make it more about skill. It's less about, okay, you know, do I have the ability to sort of lead my gun in more just raw pilot skill. So you can make the argument for both sides, but I'm fine with the indicator. It's okay with me.
Systems overheating. Alert. Systems overheating.
Yeah, we're letting him cool down.
Proximity.
Oh, that was a piece of debris. We went straight for it. I saw it last second. It was way too late at that point, though. Such a rookie pilot mistake, but hey, I'm quite the rookie pilot, so.
Aerospace. All systems online. Scanning.
Any targets? Targets in the area. All right, let's go hunt down this last Vanduul. He's been alive for much too long. Whoa! That sounded amazing. That's just no other reason to use any other word except amazing. I was actually playing a bit earlier today, trying to play some of the Spectrum match, and it was basically just a bunch of friendlies flying around because we had no enemies in game in squadron battle, but me and this one guy just kept doing high-speed passes in our Hornets, and oh my god, did it sound... it sounded epic, man. It is a great sound. Maybe we can get some of that going on right now. But, you know, obviously some huge improvements to the sound effects for just about everything. It's just constantly getting better. It's really impressive. Alright, bunch more Vanduuls inbound. Let's go ahead and get a target.
Scanning.
Let's go ahead and zoom out here. Zoomed in on my cockpit a little bit too much.
Bogey.
Bogey, bogey, bogey. Let's make our way in for the kill. This is a bit too close, I think. Cutting a bit too close. Let's go ahead and switch targets there. We're going to go ahead for this one right here. Couple rounds on target. Let's go ahead and rotate and follow them. Nice chasing speed there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Crazy, crazy Vanduul. I can't imagine what that ship's going to be like to fly. I mean, my god, dude. It rotates on such a rapid axis, and then it just thrusts wherever it wants to go. It's like a crotch rocket unicycle. That's the best way I can put it. This is where you start to realize, you know, you really have to spend some time with tweaking the sensitivity for your joystick if you're running a joystick, or, you know, even the mouse and keyboard, because a lot of issues fine aiming. That's, you know, it's a huge issue when you're in combat, when you're just missing rounds all over the place because you just can't get that fine aim on. Vanduul down. We are taking some heavy damage. I'm gonna go ahead and push my shield to the rear and then try and push an escape here.
Shields charging.
Do like now that we have the ability to sort of move our shields around the ship. It's a nice touch, definitely useful. I don't quite have a convenient key binding for it, but there's no one to blame except for myself on that one. That's one of the other things. There's a lot of keys to be bound. You really need to have a keyboard and your joystick set up if you're running a joystick. We are lit up here. Vanduul down. Let's go for the next target. They seem to drop at a much quicker pace than they previously did. We're good. Don't worry about it. 25%. We're gonna go for the head-on attack here. That should at least get his fire off of us. It feels much better to fly. I mean, that's for sure. Huge improvement, you know, especially since the earlier days of getting the X-52 and stuff in game for me. Oh, that's some heavy hits. Still just not fully used head track at target. Track IR targeting. You know, I've definitely got to the point where I use my track IR instinctively, even when I'm not, you know, actually having it enabled in games. Caught myself playing Battlefield 4 yesterday on the Xbox One, and I'm trying to head track. You can actually head track with the Kinect, but it's nothing like track IR, that's for sure. I just don't have it set up the same way in Battlefield. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. I'm head tracking when I can't be head tracking. So let's just gotta. Oh, it's so satisfying though when you actually get a bunch of rounds on target, and you know it's because you were looking at the target. You scratched my ship. Coming for you. Of course, the weapons are only gimbaled so much, so let's get a boost off here. Avoid hitting one of these. It's nice because, like I said, you know, the fine aim is sort of an issue sensitivity-wise with the joystick, but if you get used to using the head tracking, you don't need to be worried about that because you use your head to actually get that fine targeting down. It's definitely going to take some practice, and you sort of have to develop the muscles for that, the memory for that. Muscle memory for that, that's what I'm trying to say. Whew. Let's kick it around. I think the one thing that the game has, and I hope they can continue to preserve it as they make, you know, the flight mechanics more solid, is that it does feel rewarding, you know, when you're in a good dogfight and you get your maneuvers right and you stay on target. There's quite a bit of satisfaction to that, you know, especially when playing against another player. It's just a matter of making those moments happen more, you know, messing with things like the speed of the ships and how they handle to make dogfighting more, you know, more like dogfighting and less like a spinning firefight. I think that's one of the big things they're going to have to overcome, you know, now that they've gone with the the decision to actually use the sort of flight mechanic that they're using, unlike Elite, which sort of makes the ship, you know, feel more like a plane in the way that it moves. I'm fine with it existing in the game, that sort of a decision. I just hope they can, you know, nail it. That sounds so good, man. Scythe just sounds like a weird space Formula 1 car, and that was probably the coolest shot I've ever seen. We actually watched that hit the front shield, and that was actually really awesome. All right, let's do this. Let's use our head tracking here. Let's get this guy down. Oh, that was weird. Our weapons crossed up for a second. Oh, ouch. Alright, let's make this happen. Where's this guy? There he is. Freaking Vanduul, man. They're just so quick. Later, dude. Alright, one more left. Let's go ahead and take him out. The boost. I'm still tweaking my track IR profile as well for this. I'm trying to, you know, avoid the head clipping. I mean, granted, a lot of that has just to do with the way the game is currently designed. You know, a lot of small bugs and issues with track IR, but you can definitely do some refining and sort of get rid of it. I've gotten rid of a lot of it by modifying the Elite Dangerous profile I have, but still some work to be done there. Hopefully I can get rid of it altogether.
Systems overheating. Alert. Systems overheating. Alert. Lock. Aft hit.
Let's just use a missile on this guy.
Lock. Shields charging. Shields full.
Oh my god, that looked and felt and sounded so epic on so many levels. That's the first time I've used missiles since they've updated the game. That was wonderful. We need to do that a couple more times before we finish this up, I think. Let's hunt down Little King with some missiles. God, that was so cool. Well done, whoever designed that. Yes, I like that very much. Oh, I think it's bringing a slight tear to my eye. It was so good. Alright, let's make our way in here. Where's Little King? Where'd he go? I know he's hanging out at the back. He always is. He's always a little coward. Navigate our way through the asteroid field here.
Lock. Missiles dry.
I think that's all of our missiles, actually. That is it. I think I actually fired way too many missiles. Oh man, they're not happy about us going after their man here. Lost targeting on him. That was weird. We're being hit hard. I think we're going down. Oh man, that's the end of us. I like how we were actually hit and our character, that wasn't me, you know, with my track air, our character actually was sort of thrown down into his seat there. Back up, those shields are back up. We're just moving in the wrong direction here, that's all. Oh, our thrusters are down, that was sort of the end of that one. Well, that was a bit of fun. We're gonna head back now. Much as I love Vanduul Swarm, definitely not something you can play all day long. Well, maybe some people can, but I sure as hell can't. Oh, I love the addition of a lot of those effects, though. That was really why I've been playing it today, was starting to... I know they've just constantly been improving sound effects, visual effects, the motion camera effects for things like the pilot, like we saw. Those are all the small touches that make a game really special, and I'm just glad that there's probably going to be a lot of those in Star Citizen. You know, as long as this game's going to take to develop, we'll know that there will be tons of small, wonderful details in it when it does finally get to, you know, to that released... that version 1.0 for the release. Big improvements, though. I'm really genuinely impressed with 1.0. I think it makes a lot of leaps forward in terms of the gameplay. Obviously, the visuals are just constantly improving. I hope to see a little bit more optimization, and I hope we start to get some advanced settings in for graphics like bloom and things like that that we can turn off. I mean, I know you can do it all through the configuration files, but I just want to see it in game. Let us disable some of that stuff. You know, let some of us with... Let us refine the graphics a little bit more on our own side of things, because the game is just, it is so intensive. But at the same time, I'm really impressed with the amount of frames I'm getting early on. You know, the R9 280X is a decent card. Like I said, it was a ridiculous deal that I got for that thing, so I can't complain. It's done me well inside of Star Citizen here. Hop out of the ship, though. Man. Of course, 1.0 has already brought about things like the Avenger is in-game now, the Cutlass is in-game now, so I know a lot of people are having a lot of fun with those ships. And if you're out there flying the Cutlass or the Avenger, let me know how it feels. What do you think of them? You know, have they become your new go-to ships for Arena Commander, for Vanduul Swarm? What do you think of them? How do they feel to fly? Are you enjoying them? And just in general, what have you guys been thinking about 1.0? Have you been playing it? Have you been having trouble getting into it? I know a lot of people have had to reinstall the game, which is understandable. At this early of a state for the game, there's just going to be issues like that. They're unavoidable. But 1.0, man, if this isn't a good indication of the future of the game, I don't know what is. A lot of great improvements here. Just a lot of awesomeness by the team at CIG. I'm excited for 2015. 4-star Citizen, and I know a lot of you are. And I also know that several times throughout this video I probably referred to Star Citizen as elite, so please forgive me for that blasphemy, any of you diehard Star Citizen fans. Everyone else out there, if there's any questions you'd like to ask me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And hopefully, sooner than later, in one day, I'll see you in the verse.